You've been a detective for 15 years. You've walked every corner of this city. Your signature is on every file. You were always the one who did the right thing, the one who caught the guilty, interrogated them, and handed them over to justice. Until today. Because today, in that warehouse you're heading to for the investigation, you're going to have to make a very important decision. It's 3 a.m. The weather is dark and rainy, and something about it settles wrong in your chest. You've never liked nights like this. Anyway, you're sitting at your desk, staring at the unpaid bills in front of you and the red-stamped warning letters from the bank. 15 years as a detective, solving the hardest cases in this city, and none of it is enough to pay your rent on time or cover your daughter's school expenses. This job gave you a badge, but in return, it gave you a life built on sleepless nights and slow-burning stress. While you're staring at the bills on the kitchen table in the morning, the crackling static from the radio shatters the silence. There's a report of a confrontation at an old textile factory in the Harbor District. You grab your jacket, clip your badge to your belt. Marcus is already outside, engine running, waiting for you. Marcus has been your partner for 5 years. He's one of the rare men in this department who still believes in the rules. His wife makes him a sandwich every morning. His 2 kids look at him like he's a hero. Sometimes you envy that simplicity of his. Other times you wonder how a man can stay that blind in a world like this. When you get in the car, Marcus glances at you and asks, "Another sleepless night?" You just nod. The wipers drag back and forth across the windshield. Even that sound is enough to get under your skin. Your head is already full of numbers. When you arrive at the scene, the yellow police tape snaps hard in the wind. The inside of the factory is thick with dust, old machine oil, and that sharp bite of iron in the air. 3 victims. Everything looks far too deliberate. Whatever happened here, it was planned. That much is obvious. Marcus heads back outside to check the perimeter and wait for the forensics team. You move toward the back office section of the factory. The white beam of your flashlight traces the footprints on the floor, following them all the way to the back of a wooden desk. Right beside it, mounted on the wall behind an old painting, a safe, its door left hanging open. The man inside was found incapacitated next to the safe. You drop to your knees. You hear them hit the concrete. As you look inside the safe, you feel your heartbeat shift. Stacks of bills, sealed inside clear vacuum bags. You bring the flashlight closer and run a quick count. Tens, 50s, hundreds, roughly $1 million in total. That's 10 times your 15 years of salary, your retirement bonus, and the debt-free life you've only ever dreamed about, all sitting right there in front of you. And that's when a calculator starts running in the back of your mind. If you report this money, the people upstairs will swarm all over it. Between the files and the paperwork, it'll slowly disappear. Some of it will be locked away as evidence. Some of it will get lost along the way. And in the end, it won't do a single person any good. But if you just secured 2 stacks for your personal use, no, 2 stacks wouldn't be enough. You hear Marcus's voice coming from outside. He's giving orders, talking into his radio. You have maybe 2 minutes, maybe less. Time seems to stop. You just stand there, unable to move, unable to think straight. Either you call Marcus in and do the honest thing, or you turn those bank warning letters to ash in a single moment. You don't make the decision. Your body makes it for you. You grab a black duffel bag sitting empty beside the safe. Your hands were shaking as you moved the money, but you didn't stop. The rustling of those plastic bags seems to echo off every wall. The silence around you is so complete that you're convinced the sound is carrying outside. Every crinkle makes your stomach drop. Every single one feels like a footstep heading toward the door. You concealed the bag in the ventilation gap in the ceiling of the office, just behind the grate. Not now, you tell yourself. If you take it now, you'll get caught. You know the forensics team will sweep this room when they arrive. You're just hoping they won't look that high up. If they do, your life is over. You push the bag all the way in, close the grate, dust yourself off and stand up. That's when Marcus walks in. Your eyes meet. The way he looks at you, it's as if he already knows, as if he can see that you just found money and didn't report it. You can't escape those honest, all-seeing eyes of his. Your stomach turns. You can't stop yourself from thinking, what if he figured it out? Find anything? He asks. The calm in his voice is maddening. Empty, you say. Looks like the guy tried to get the safe open but couldn't. Marcus walks over to the safe and looks inside. He pulls on a glove and runs his finger along the inner edge. Strange, he says. A professional hit like this, you don't leave a safe empty. The tension building inside you is enormous, but you don't show it. Maybe they took whatever was in it with them, you say. The forensics team files in, camera flashes pop, measurements are taken, but every single second, your mind is on the ceiling, on that $1 million sitting behind the grate. Marcus doesn't leave your side. He knows you're not usually this quiet. He chalks it up to focus, thinks you're in your head working the case the way you always do. In his mind, you're still that honest detective piecing everything together. He still sees the man he's always known. And you're already working on your next lie. While the teams sweep through the factory, an officer shouts, "Got something over here." Your heart nearly stops. Did they check the ventilation? No. The officer is pointing at a shell casing on the floor. You take a deep breath. It doesn't help, because you're not just a detective anymore. You're someone who crossed a line, and not just any thief, someone who stole from a crime scene right under the nose of the man he called his partner, the man he called his brother. By the time you walk out of the factory, morning has already broken. The sun cutting through those gray buildings hits your eyes, irritates you. As the light grows stronger, it feels like what you did becomes more visible somehow, like there's nowhere left to hide. In the car, Marcus is listening to the radio. When the dispatch announcement comes through, no money found at the scene. He turns to look at you. "That money is somewhere, detective," he says, his voice carrying more suspicion than usual. "If we can't find it, the tension in this city is only going to get worse." You look at him. Marcus's honesty has become an obstacle. If you want to get that money out of there, you're going to have to keep Marcus under control, or find a way to bring him into it. You catch Marcus glancing at you in the rearview mirror. Did he notice that small miscalculation in your eyes? You don't know. But what you do know is this. The money in that bag has become a turning point, and you're going to have to make some hard decisions to protect it. You get out of the car. The mechanical click of the door closing echoes louder than it should in the quiet street. Marcus doesn't cut the engine. The rhythmic drag of the wipers against the glass keeps time with the relentless arithmetic spinning inside your head. As you walk toward the building, you know Marcus still hasn't left. Your back is turned, but you can feel him watching you, and it crawls under your skin. You step inside your apartment and lock the door behind you. You press your back against the wood and wait in the dark for a moment. The yellow envelopes sitting on the small table in the hallway, those final warning letters from the bank, remind you, even in the dim light, of just how powerless you are. Your daughter's bedroom door is slightly ajar. The steady rhythm of her breathing drifts out into the hallway. You tell yourself that's the only reason you did what you did, that she's your justification. But that's not entirely true, and somewhere inside, you know it. You don't sleep that night. You sit at the kitchen table staring at a cold cup of coffee, but what you're really watching is that ventilation gap in the factory ceiling. Your mind has shifted out of problem-solving mode and into something else entirely. Just running scenarios, over and over. How are you going to get the bag out of there? The forensics team could be there right now, sealing the scene, taking photographs, combing through every single centimeter. If they find that bag, it's not just the money, 15 years of career, your name, your reputation, all of it could come apart. You listen to your radio through the night, but no new announcements come in from the harbor district. As the clock creeps towards 6 in the morning, you drag yourself to the bathroom without even changing out of your dusty jacket. You splash cold water on your face. You look in the mirror. Dark circles sunken deep under your eyes from the sleepless night, bruised purple against your skin. As you drive from your apartment to the precinct, you watch the city through different eyes. You're not these people's protector anymore. You're one of those men now, the ones who exploit the gaps in the system for their own gain. When you pull into the precinct parking lot, you spot Marcus's car in its usual spot. But he's not inside. He's standing at the building entrance, paper cup in hand, waiting for you. As you approach, he doesn't say a word. He just takes a slow sip of his coffee and narrows his eyes. And you know he's noticed it. That small gray smudge on your shoulder. The one that got there when your jacket scraped against the ventilation shaft. Nothing but asbestos dust from the ceiling of that factory. "You're late," Marcus says finally. His voice is more distant than usual, colder. You avoid his eyes as you pass him, but he doesn't let it go. As you walk down the corridor, your steps are shorter than usual. The commotion outside the captain's office is the first concrete sign that something has gone wrong. Inside, Two internal affairs detectives are sitting at the head of the table in cheap but razor-pressed suits, studying a notebook in front of them. Marcus steps close and murmurs in your ear. They found an accounting record on the victim, a breakdown of the money the cartel was holding in that warehouse. We're talking roughly $1 million. But our report says the safe was empty. The pain that drives into your stomach in that moment is sharp enough to stop your breath. If internal affairs is involved, they're going to re-examine every fingerprint, every footprint at that scene, every single one. Marcus looks at you in a way that makes you feel like he was there, like he watched you do it. You were the first one into that room, detective, he says, and his voice carries something that sounds genuinely like a question. Are you sure you didn't see anything? Your fingerprints are on the safe door, but you told me it was empty. Why? You realize you're going to have to make a decision, a hard one, with no way back. I checked the safe, Marcus. The door was already open, you say. Your voice comes out steady. You try not to feel anything in that moment. Maybe the victim let someone in before he died. That money was gone before we even got there. Marcus doesn't say anything. He just nods slowly and says, I hope you're right, then walks into the captain's office. You sit down at your desk and stare at the blank screen in front of you. About 2 hours later, a new call comes in from the factory in the harbor district. The crime scene seal has been broken. Armed individuals spotted inside. Marcus bursts out of the room and comes straight to you. Let's go, he says. When you get in the car, Marcus hits the gas. But this time, he doesn't turn on the sirens. You cut through the back streets of the city toward the harbor district, neither of you saying a word. When you reach the factory, you can see the back door has been forced open. Marcus moves his hand to the weapon at his hip. And you can only think about that ventilation shaft. Inside, the air still carries the same heavy weight left over from the night before. But this time, there's a problem. From the direction of the office, footsteps, and the sound of metal. When you reach the office door, what you see inside dismantles every plan you had. The people in there aren't police. They're the organization's operational crew. They've climbed up on the desk, flashlights in hand, trying to pry open that grate in the ceiling. They're certain you took the money. They just haven't figured out where you hid it yet. Police, hands up, Marcus shouts, but the men have already drawn their weapons. The action starts instantly. The first shot hits the pillar right next to Marcus. You and Marcus take cover behind the desk. As the sounds of conflict echoed through the factory, the guilt hits you like a physical weight. Because you're the one who hid that money. And if something happens to Marcus, if something happens to either of you, every bit of that responsibility lands on you. You feel it in your chest, burning. While Marcus is returning fire, he shouts at you, "What are these men looking for, detective? How do they know the money is still in here? Did someone tip them off that it never left the building?" You don't answer. You just keep shooting. When one of the men was incapacitated, the other one bolts through the back window and disappears. The suffocating silence settles over the office again. Marcus gets to his feet, brushes the dust off himself, and looks directly at the ventilation grate. There's nowhere left to hide. No lie left to tell. "Take it down," Marcus says. His voice is so cold it feels like he's already made up his mind about you. With shaking hands, you climb up on the chair and pull down that black duffel bag. The one you pushed up there with your own hands the night before. When you open it and see all that money together, you finally understand just how large a risk you took. Marcus looks at the bag, then at your badge. "Was it for this money?" he asks. "Is this what 15 years and all those cases were worth?" Marcus takes the bag from your hands. He doesn't give it back. He just looks you in the eyes, and in that moment you understand. Your 15-year partnership is over. "This money goes to the authorities," he says. His voice is no longer the voice of a partner. It's as cold and distant as a stranger's. You want to argue, but you don't have that right. You had built dreams around this money, but it was never yours to dream about. Marcus picks up his radio and calls it in. "Central, the situation with the suspects has been resolved. The cartel's missing money has been located in the ventilation shaft. Requesting internal affairs at the scene." When you get back to the precinct, everything flashes past you like frames of a film. You think about all of it, everything that happened, everything that comes next. In his statement to Internal Affairs, Marcus doesn't mention your name. "I searched the room myself, but I missed the ventilation shaft on the initial sweep. It slipped past me," he says. "This provided a different account, so you avoided prison. But you know things between you and Marcus will never be what they were. When Marcus comes out of the room, he walks straight to you and drops a piece of paper in front of you. You got away from prison, he says, but you didn't get away from this job, friend. Now put your badge on the desk and don't even walk past the front of this building again. If I see you here tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to reconsider what I know about that ventilation shaft. You set your badge on the desk. With that sound, that small final click of metal on wood, you understand that everything you built over all these years is finished. You pick up your jacket and walk down the corridor. You feel the eyes of your colleagues on you differently now. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but everyone understands that something is over. When you step outside, the rain is still falling. You walk down to the parking lot and get in your car. You start the engine, but you don't turn on the radio. You no longer have the right to listen to that static. You look at your face in the rearview mirror, the honest man of the system, the one who put his life on the line for justice. That man is now just a civilian. The money stayed on the desk. The badge stayed with Marcus. The great risk you took for your daughter's future turned you into someone with nothing left. You're not a bad person. For years, you were the one who caught the bad ones. You simply made that decision thinking about your daughter's future. Every person can make mistakes. You are human, and you made one. But what matters is learning from it. This story shows that sometimes the greatest injustice is the crime a person commits against themselves. One night's dream of wealth can erase 15 years of honor in a single second. If it were you, would you have opened that ventilation grate for your family's debts and your future? Or would the weight of your badge always outweigh the weight of that money? Share your choice and your reason in the comments. If you enjoy dark detective stories and POV content like this, you can like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to be the first to know when a new case drops. If you want to support us further, you can join our community through the Join button. Until the next case, keep your eyes wide open and never trust your own lies.